pitter-patter, let's get Advent. Brr.
She burns cherry red, never listens to a word her mama says. So young and beautiful, just what's a girl to do? Sooner or later, she had to break the rules.
Tiara, how are you now?
Good, and you?
Oh, not so bad. We this is final episode of the season.
Yeah.
So it seems like we're going through these quicker and quicker every time.
Well, it's funny. I realized the other day that we never made a big deal about the fact that we've now been a podcast for a year.
Yeah, almost. Yeah, at the
over
end,
a year now, because it was November that we started recording them.
We started putting them out in December.
It's now December.
Okay.
Anyway, we started recording them before your 50th birthday, which was in November.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
So
you say so.
We had the whole thing about your 50th super soft birthday party and shut up. Anyway.
Yeah.
I thought that was something that was one thing that needed to be addressed.
True.
And then the other thing that is, I'm not sure if you did, but when this episode came out on Hulu after we started doing this show,
right?
And I stopped watching new ones after that until we could kind of catch up. Although now I've caught up with everything. This was one that I had always missed.
Right.
So
same.
Today, with working on getting ready for this, it was the first time I got to see this episode. So
yeah, same here. Yeah, this was new to me. I mean, I'd seen the gift sets.
Yeah,
and
of course,
heard all this. I'd heard the story about Coach and Barb story, but I didn't know this story. So, and I was excited to get to finally hear it. So, that was excellent episode that we'll get to in a little bit. Also, just quick reminders: cosplay contest is always going on.
Always.
It never ends. It will never end.
Halloween.
So get your if you have a Letterkenny cosplay contest item that you would like to submit, all you have to do, go to howareyounowpod.com/cosplay, and all the rules are there. Sometimes, I think it tells you to send it to host@howareyounowpod.com. Sometimes pictures that come over that are way too big for it to accept, you can also submit them to howareyounowpod@gmail.com, which allows for much larger pictures sometimes.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah. But one thing you can submit your thing to for host@howareyounowpod.com is if you're an independent band and you want to have your music featured on the show.
Jeez.
In fact, speaking of music, we have my good friend James Honeycutt. His music will be on the show today.
You will have listened to at the beginning.
That's right. At the beginning, you will have heard one of his older tunes. At the end, you'll hear one of his newer tunes. And I used to play with Jimmy and James Honeycutt and the Revolvers, and it's been a while. So, and I love James.
He decided to make music his life, and he's doing it.
He is totally.
He's traveling all the time.
Yeah, I couldn't.
It's amazing.
Couldn't imagine it.
Not at this point.
So yeah, if you are an independent band, and I know we say indie, and we mean that to be independent. We don't mean like indie music necessarily, but send it to us at host@howareyounowpod.com. We'd love to hear it. Today we have a new guest. Who's also become a friend of mine from the Letterkenny subreddit. He is the avant-garde of mods for the Letterkenny subreddit. Erik Schermond. Erik, how are you now?
Good. Wait, do that again.
Erik, how are you now?
Good, and you?
Oh, not so bad.
I tried to do it in the tennis version.
Good, and you?
Oh.
Yeah,
I didn't realize I was in the presence. I didn't realize I was in the presence of one of the Revolvers. This is a pretty big.
I was one of the Revolvers. I actually came up with the name.
You did.
I did.
It was a revolving band.
Yeah, it was.
Jimmy.
Yeah, I was like the only constant for the longest time. But yeah, so it was. Yeah, it was always a revolving band. So
very cool. Very cool.
So Erik, tell us your Letterkenny origin story.
My Letterkenny. Well, I have one of my oldest friends from high school was always going off about Letterkenny, and I was like, okay, whatever, maybe one day I'll check it out. And then one day he posted the the fart talk from the shed, that scene, and it cracked. I mean, I was dying. Obviously, I was cracking up, but I thought it was sketch, and I'm a big fan of sketch comedy. So I said, "Oh, let me check this out." Then me and my wife were sitting here doing laundry one day, scrolling through Hulu, and I said, "Oh, there's Letterkenny. Let's check it out." And the rest is history. I'm hooked now. So yeah, I have to give it up to him, my friend Chris, if he happens to listen. He knows who he is.
Good job, Chris. That's a good friend right there.
Yep.
So, and I'll know this story already, but why don't you tell us your How Are You Now podcast origin story?
Well, I mean, it was really luck. I kind of got forced into it.
A little bit.
When I took over as the moderator, the person I took it over from, he put you in the team too, and then as you and I started talking about you got a podcast, and I said, oh well, I like podcasts, so let me check it out, and it ended up being a good podcast. And I said, well, why don't we make it the sister podcast, and here we are.
Yay!
Again, the rest is history.
The official podcast of the Letterkenny subreddit.
Mm-hmm.
And now you've added Awesome to the board of mods.
Yeah.
So, and she's awesome, and she's on it. And if there's ever anything trivia of Letterkenny that you want to know, or have some headcanon that you want to try it on her,
right?
Yeah, she's big on the headcanon. Definitely.
She's very big on that, and that's what we appreciate that about her.
And I'm gonna challenge her on that trivia maven title.
Oh, she is good.
Yeah.
Do you have, well, we'll get to the trivia at the end. I'm not gonna.
Right.
We won't challenge anybody on that just yet.
Yeah.
Because I've got a few questions that I can't find on the internet.
So, what about the dark web?
I have never been on the dark web.
Eric, do you have anything you'd like to plug?
Well, obviously, I'd like to plug the subreddit, reddit.com/r/Letterkenny. If anybody's not there, you should come there, because we work very hard. Dean and myself and everybody else work very hard to keep it a nice, friendly place that's where you can come and just discuss the episodes. And I'm working really hard on trying to get some AMAs with some of the more regular cast members, and hopefully in the coming year we're going to get Jared and we're going to get Jacob, and so fingers crossed for that. But other than that, no, just nice to everybody.
We're constantly fighting off the degens from upcountry.
And
it's hard to do when you have over 100,000 users. So
I'm the fascist dictator of the Letterkenny subreddit.
Hey, and I proudly wear that as well. So I'm one of them. I mean, I think that's one of the things that so many Letterkenny mods of either groups or Twitters or what have you, and does not exclude the Letterkenny subreddit, is fighting off the people who only see things as, oh, well, it's just drinking and fighting and pretty girls. Mm-hmm. And it's way more than that. So
exactly.
If it was just that, I would not have lasted more than like episode 3.
Yeah.
Once we hit Fart Book, I would have been like, nah, I'm out.
Oh yeah. Once I hit Fart Book, if I did not know it for what it was, I would have been like, it's a little.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. I understand. And that's why, like, an episode like Fart Book for me has become an endearing thing, because you understand and everything that goes on with social media, what they're really trying to say. So
the subtext is important.
Yeah.
Everything.
Exactly. There is so much subtext and wordplay and Letterkenny that it's amazing that they can still come up with new things. So let's get into real quick a recap of our last week's episode, Bac Biche, which is where they went to the Quebec to for the Buckendoe of Anik, which is Jean-Guy's sister, right? I have that right. Yeah. And she's getting married to some guy she doesn't really like, who looks like what did I say? John Krasinski from The Office.
Yes. But not from The Office, from Jack Ryan.
He looks like Jack Ryan.
Yes. Right.
Yeah, the Jack Ryan series, because he's got the beard. I mean, God damn, he looks so much like him. But anyway, we had Valerie Lopez from Comedy Wham on there, and our first hip hop artist, Mish. I don't know if it's Mish or Mesh, and I neglected to ask her because her real name is Kwamisha, so it may be Mish. So I apologize if I've mispronounced it. So Mish or Mesh, however it's pronounced. It was amazing, and thank you for.
Yeah, super talented. She was really good.
Yeah. So yeah, Eric, how do you feel? Bake Biche, what's your take on that? I mean, just in a nutshell.
You mean the episode or a Bake Biche in general?
The episode, the Letterkenny episode.
It's honestly been a while since I've seen that one.
Yeah.
So I'm going to recuse myself.
That's
on
okay.
That.
Totally okay.
Yeah.
It's hard to keep up on all of them.
Right.
I mean, we watch each episode like 3 or 4 times before we do.
Yeah,
it.
I try to go back as much as possible.
Yeah, it's fresh, more fresh in our mind. So to me, it was, just really finding a way to get Derry a love interest in the end. It was about Derry just being himself and not being the nutsack he normally is with women. And I mean, he played it cool. And there was a part where, at the end where he wanted to go over there, Wayne held him back because he's a good friend. And then Anik said, Anik made the choice, that
without any interference. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. So I think it was a good episode. We got introduced to a new woman that Wayne was interested in. We don't know her name yet.
Dun, dun, dun.
But she was real pretty.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure she'll be great.
Yes, I'm sure we're gonna love her.
Much love. She definitely looks like a lover person. So,
yes.
So from that, let's get into our deep dive of season 5, episode 7, or season 6, episode 0, depending upon how you look at it. A Letterkenny Christmas, 3 Wise Men. So in this episode, we start off, which actually is a little animation of Little Kenny.
The first
time
we see Little Kenny.
And a year before Little Kenny it ever came out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. It came out after the end of, I think was at the end of season 6.
It was January 28th.
Yeah.
The next year.
Right.
Year.
So, they're in the kitchen. The Hicks are, laying out all their stuff for the upcoming Christmas party. You can tell Wayne is really excited. This is the first time he's not been a curmudgeon about a holiday event.
True story.
Not a poopy pants.
He is, not a curmudgeon, not a poopy pants in sight. Katie's brought some things out onto the table, and Wayne asked Katie about the box.
Bit fucking gnar that we keep these bottles in this box here and only bring them out one time a year.
Well, there's good reason for it. I mean, who wants to drink Butter Ripple Schnapps?
Well, whoever's having a nativity barn burner, likely.
And who wants to drinks Blue Caracal?
Whoever's having a Mrs. Clausmo, likely.
And who wants to drink creme de menthe?
Whoever's having a naughty or spice, likely.
I could whip up some Sangria.
Mix them all together for a good old jingle juice.
No, jingle juice makes spit.
No spitting. We keep it classy till midnight for the main event.
And so, as we find out that the main event is the 3 Wise Men, which is a shot each of American whiskey, Irish whiskey, and Canadian rye.
And later in trivia, I have a few more things about the alcohol.
and then
me too.
Right, and then Katie jumps in with a
To be fair.
that jingle juice should basically make everyone, because it's so gross, it should make everyone pace themselves for the evening. But they are all super excited for the party. So that's basically the open. We cut back. The party has started. Everybody's there. Everyone's drinking the jingle juice. Nobody seems to be really happy about that fact. But Bonnie comes in her little cute elf outfit, and she gets to have the first gift of the evening.
Do you like my outfits?
Do you like my outfits? Yeah, that whole little banter between them is
I think she actually say, "Do you like how my outfits?"
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is even funnier because it's like outfits, not but how it fits. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So she opens her present from Wayne, which is a disposable camera, and he explains that every party needs somebody to take pictures and recollect it all, and you never know what's going to happen once you get them developed. And so he asked her to take pictures of the party. And then a little bit later, 8:00 rolls around. Derry's trying to get into the bathroom, but he can't because as you can hear, someone's puking in there.
God, I'm not a sympathetic puker.
which he's upset about. Keep it classy till midnight. That's when the three wise men. So
party just started.
Right.
Then guess who we see under the mistletoe?
I hate to take this opportunity, Stuart, but I believe this is a mistletoe. Oh no! Oh,
Merry Christmas.
He got the kiss.
I love
he got the.
Yeah,
and,
I love
good
how
aim.
that was Stuart's present.
Yeah, and Stuart
Merry
did not
Christmas,
pull
I
away.
kiss you.
Nope.
Yeah.
That scene made me all. I asked for that one because I was like, I like that scene. Do that scene.
It was cute. Then next up for the gifts is Coach, and he gets a chimney cleaning log. Then he tells this lovely story of his departed wife, Barb.
Kind of reminds me of my late wife, Barb. We had a Christmas tradition ourselves. My lover and I would spend Christmas Eve together, as lovers do. And we would make love for hours in front of the fire.
well, there you go.
I haven't been touched by a lover since my late wife, Barb, died. And I miss the touch of a lover. To be honest, it's hard to find a good lover.
Well, I'm sure you find another person.
Barb was a tremendous lover. She used to say that the best part about my body was my legs. To be honest, the best part about her was her legs, too.
Well, sounds like she was a wonderful woman.
Big tits.
Sorry?
You never noticed?
No.
You never noticed Barb's knocks.
No.
I would lay her down at night and I would say, knock, knock. Who's there? Big old boner in my underwear. She could make an ocean-fearing man go boating.
Well, folks love Bolton, so.
And I admit I made him cut it off before the hand job part.
Yeah, I got to go back to that scene and count how many times he says "lover."
I know.
He must
And
have said
every
"lover" like
time
100
Wayne
times.
is like flinching.
Yeah, he makes the worst face. It's so bad.
Oh my God, he is. But yeah, and we'll get. I'll get to that later. So yeah, Anyway, he's they take a quick picture. He's off. Then 9 p.m. rolls around. Squirrely Dan's trying to go to the bathroom, and somebody's still puking in there, and he's another one telling him to keep it classy. Then up next is Tanis. For the gift, she can't open it because her she's waiting for her nails to dry. So Wayne has to open it for her. It's an apron that says, "Why you all up in my grill?" And Tanis immediately is offended.
Of course.
Wayne explains that the only reason he wanted to give that to her is because of the text, because it was clever, because she was such a good cook and she didn't like fellas being around her while she at the grill. And then Tanis realizes she was being a cow, and then she says, and this is something that is continuing throughout Letterkenny.
My love of Tanis is starting to become problematic.
Starting to wane. I mean, this of course is not something she would ever say in real life.
No,
this is part of Tanis's
it's very much Tanis.
problematic character.
Mm-hmm.
It's what's a good way to put that? It's almost like I worry that one day she's gonna like turn out to be a TERF or something like that.
Oh,
like,
God,
right?
I hope not.
Right, but that like some of the shit that she says.
Yeah. But I mean, there's
as we get farther along.
Yeah,
in the series.
well, and that's what we also say.
But she gets called on it most of the time.
Unless they're a degen from upcountry, you never see any of the guys in Letterkenny making those kinds of jokes. They put it on the women. I'm not sure. I guess I don't know if it's to soften the joke or to.
It's more of a shock when it's coming out of a woman's mouth on TV.
Yeah, I guess.
Before you get too far, you should probably point out the joke, the fact that she's like, Wayne says, you're sensitive, everybody's sensitive, and she goes, yeah, it's so fucking gay.
Yeah.
Right.
And immediately as she says it, it cuts to Wayne.
Yeah.
And Wayne makes the face where he's obviously, it's one of those things where it's like, Well, I don't think that's PC, buddy, but and
Right.
you're not supposed to say it, but Go ahead.
It's also like one of the reasons why he doesn't want to be with her because, right after that, she kind of comes on to him and he's like, no.
Yeah.
Are the strings attached to it? Yeah.
Absolutely.
They tie around the back in case you're
yeah, she, because it's also funny in that she is also an LGBTQ character.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And that she's saying it. So I guess that, that
a lot of the times when stuff like that happens and they're not playing it for like the big joke, it's exactly like that. There's 50 reasons probably why that's the character that said that thing.
And I'm absolutely sure that they knew they were writing that joke for that reason. Like, and you also have to give it to the character of Tanis, who, she's from the res. It's a whole nother, type of people. And
exactly.
But I think it actually worked out really well because she's just like looking at her nails. She's like, "So fucking guy," and Wayne makes the face.
That was something that you were saying too. That she was like, "Oh, what?
Yeah.
Like, you got me an apron because I'm a woman, but no, I can't open it because my nails are wet."
Yeah.
Like the juxtaposition was
right.
amazing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So and then 10 p.m. rolls around. Gail now is trying to get in the bathroom. Someone's still puking in there. Then we cut over to Katie wanting to watch a Christmas movie. They're trying to decide, and she comes up with,
Hey, why don't we watch a classic? Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer circa 1964.
No! Santa was such a dick in that movie.
And a racist dick, which I, sir, have no time for.
Did you just call Santa a racist?
The landscape's not the only thing whitewashed at the North Pole.
Yeah, and then Santa tells Rudolph that his nose makes him sick, and then makes him cover it up.
Clear sign of prejudice, Katie.
Guys, it was a different time, it was made in the 60s. Right, Coach?
How old do you think I am?
How long can society keep making that excuse, Katie?
Yeah, and the mental abuse.
Physical, too. One is rarely far from the other.
And then Santa has the Timbits to ask Rudolph to guide him around the whole world to every fucking house.
Rudolph got to guide Santa's sleigh. That's all he ever wanted.
That's not all he wanted, Katie!
What else did he want?
Reparations.
You know what bugged me most about that movie? Is that the elf's biggest dream was to become a dentist. Not a race car driver, not an astronaut, but a dentist. Pull your finger out of your ass, fucking elf.
Highest suicide rate of any profession.
Christmas cheer just hitting a real fever pitch now.
Oh, God. That's the conversation that would happen at a Christmas party I would go to.
oh yeah,
We're like, let's talk shit about this thing that we loved when we were kids. And then
especially
watch it and drink.
Especially after drinking all that crap you just drank.
Right.
Now, and in the words of John Mulaney, now we don't have time to unpack all of that.
Yay! I love working that into a conversation.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was there's a whole bunch there. So we find out that Gail is the next giftee, and from which she receives from Wayne a framed photo of Uncle Eddie. And Gail retells the story of even more Uncle Eddie takedowns, and the use of the cane.
Jerry care fetish.
Yeah, and then she talked the use of the cane, and then the uncle thing, and then Wayne starts to ask a question that he realizes he doesn't want to know the answer to.
Yep.
So he calls Bonnie in, they take the picture. 11 p.m. rolls around. Stuart is trying to go to the bathroom now. Someone still in there puking. Glenn is our next giftee. He tells how sad he is that the church has decided to have a guest minister come instead of Glenn, instead of himself, to do the Christmas service. And then Wayne presents him with a pitch pipe for his gift, for his band, the Salty Treats. We find out that the Salty Treats are broken up. Then there's a whole story beyond that about Fleetwood Mac and blowing cocaine up your poopers, but which none of that actually happened with the Salty Treats, but for some reason Glenn needed to bring that up.
It's fun to think about.
Yeah.
So he crawls up in Wayne's lap so he can have his picture taken by Bonnie. Then next up, Riley goes to knock on the bathroom door. Jonesy's coming out, And so we find out that it's Riley and Jonesy who've been puking in the bathroom all night.
Back and forth forever.
Right.
Like that Cards Against Humanity card.
Puking back and forth forever.
That's what that meant.
That's exactly what that meant. So they were the two doing the spitting. Then immediately they get called in by Wayne. I don't know your fucking names, but if you're hockey players, get in here. And Wayne gives them this framed collage of the Shamrockettes win. And they are so touched that they almost cry. I think there's probably a little tear in there for them. So they get down, they get down there, and they take their picture with Wayne. They're so proud, but they talk about everybody, all the
why they're more drunk than and how their day started so much earlier because of all of these college girls that are
coming home. So they're doing their Christmas time takedowns. So in the kitchen, Katie, Coach, and Gail are hanging out, and they have a discussion about Home Alone, and everyone gets on that discussion. Katie's, that's another classic. Coach sees it as a fighting through the pain movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Derry and Dan talk about it's just a very dark movie about guys who just want to end up dead.
Yep.
And so then Katie brings up,
What about the Santa Claus?
The Tim Allen movie? Well, whoever puts on Santa's suit becomes Santa? What if Santa died on Paul Bernardo's roof?
Bernardo puts on Santa's suit, henceforth becoming a serial killer, which I
would watch that movie.
Henceforth making Carla Homolka Mrs. Claus. What then?
We stop saying henceforth?
John Wayne Gacy's roof. He already dressed up in a clown costume to lure his victims in. He could pull off Santa in his sleep.
Child's play.
Jeffrey Dahmer's. Now Santa Claus kills and eats his victims.
I like that.
I love that whole thing for so many reasons that we can get into in a bit.
Yes.
Yep.
We will get into that in a bit. So, so Wayne then calls the Skids in for their gift and tosses it to them. And they're saying they're not going to have any of it. But Wayne says, well, what if it's drugs? So Roll tears into it, and he brings out this little bottle, and they think, what is it? What is it? Barbiturates? Yeah. He says vitamin D. He goes, it's D.
It's D.
He goes,
I like the D.
I like the
D. So he explains to them with vitamin D because they're so pale, it looks like they're not getting outside, and they don't want to have a vitamin D deficiency.
Which I can attest to is terrifying and horrible.
It is. It's very depressing.
And painful.
Yeah. Then finally he calls the Hicks in. And first Dan opens his, which is a pencil case that Wayne's given him for his women's studies class that he goes to on Tuesdays because he's only been walking around with some nubs of pencils and an eraser and some and rubber bands.
A pencil pen and a highlighter wrapped up in a rubber band.
There you go. So then Gary gets cologne so that he can smell better than he does with Banana Boat, but he also recommends maybe you shouldn't wear your barn clothes
into town.
So, and then finally, Katie gets a DVD of a Korean Christmas thriller from his buddy Teddy Kim, which is called The Reindeer Effect. When they have
I want to see this movie now, even though I don't think it exists in real life.
It's not a real movie.
Yeah. So midnight rolls around, and they all get lined up at the table with their 3 shots in front of them to do their 3 wise men. And they all do the shot, and then it's concluded with Wayne saying that they should all now go have a spit. And end.
And scene.
And scene.
El fin.
Right.
With a question mark.
Yeah. So
goodness.
Let's see. Couple of trivia items off the top. When Katie brings her box out of movies, there's only 2 that you can really see on top. One is The Fallen Elf, and one is My Dog's a Rudolph.
I was trying to see what those films were, and the Rudolph one was I was uncomfortable.
So
there's also a DVD there from a video store, Value Viewage Video.
Oh yeah,
I don't think is a real place.
I could barely read that. Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, it looked like something that it was kind of from a rental chain.
Right.
So
she rented every Christmas movie that she could get.
And has never returned them,
Has never
obviously.
returned them, yeah.
So this was the first showing of Letterkenny, as we stated earlier. And
I doubt they even knew that it was Letterkenny. They were just trying to play off of like a Charlie Brown Christmas type cartoon thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then it turned into, wow, a lot of people like that. Let's make some shorts.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
And I really do hope they do more. So let's see. Other thing. So Jingle Juice is the same thing as Jungle Juice, as we learned from Uncle Eddie's Trust. So there's another Uncle Eddie in this
There's
episode.
A lot of throwbacks. In this episode.
So right. This and as you spotted, this is the only episode so far that's shot in one location only.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't even show them outside smoking, right?
Yeah, no, there was no smoking at all.
No. So let's see. Teddy Kim, who made the reindeer movie, is a reference to Theo Kim, who is was a director producer of the Letterkenny Problem web shorts.
Right.
And Reindeer Effect does not appear to be a real movie that we could find.
Yeah.
Now, one thing that I had questions about was if Mark Forward, because it really sounds like his style. If he wrote that whole part about the Barb story,
that whole scene, as far as I'm concerned, is the best scene in the episode. The way he just sits down on the floor and he's really quiet and subdued and just reminiscing about Barb and just talking about, and then when he starts singing Christmas Lover, I almost died. That was great. Lover. Can you smell it? Can you feel it? It was great.
Fuck. He is so funny.
He's great.
I love him.
Mark. Yep.
Laying down with his lover like lovers do.
Yep. And the soft cinnamon twist.
Yeah, the way he's just holding his hand.
Yeah.
God, I have to admit the way that he was like moving his hand like he had, what are those, worry balls? Right?
Yeah.
Like, that's what it. I was like, was she twisting them? What was she doing?
What she was doing there. It doesn't look comfortable now.
Right.
So, and there was some odd continuity.
Yeah, I had some things about the continuity. It was making me a little twitchy, trying to figure out when this would have taken place, because it was obviously after the hockey season was over.
After back to back to back.
After back to back, which we then know Stuart comes back from rehab with a whole new look, but yet in this, he looks exactly the same.
Well, I can actually attest to that, because there's a part where they're in the kitchen and Tanis is playing with his hair, and she says, "Nice wave."
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
I totally caught that too. I was like, wait, back up. What'd she say?
Yeah, that's like, we know it's not his real hair.
Right.
So yeah, and then and Glenn, who earlier in the season had lost his job, and was street preaching, basically, was basically this. He was back. He had a congregation. Which I'm assuming was the same congregation that he had before, but now they're bringing in this guest minister for Christmas.
Yes.
So
if anyone out there can figure out if there's some kind of reference there with the Reverend Bolio, we couldn't quite find anything anywhere about it.
Yeah,
but I'm sure
to look that one up.
Yeah,
yes, put that on Reddit.
The only bolio I could find was a bread. So
or there were a couple things, but I don't know if we're spelling it right too.
Yeah.
So
right.
Yeah, because the closed captioning on these things is hardly ever right.
You know.
So
it's better than your Uncle Eddie.
my Uncle Eddie is deaf and a stoner.
Yep. So happy, love you.
But yeah, he's I think 70 years old now. So
God bless him.
So the other question I have, who the fuck was that in that Uncle Eddie pick?
Yeah, right?
That's another one I couldn't find any answers for, that nobody seemed to be asking those two questions.
Yeah.
That we came up with. So yeah, those need to be out there in the world. Awesome. All our people, get on it.
Yeah.
And another question I had, because
there's a lot of questions in this one.
Yeah, because Dan says, you've been reading my mail.
Mm-hmm.
How has Wayne been reading Dan's mail unless he's living with them?
Could be. And
well,
also,
I wonder if that's just something that that people say. You know what I mean? Like it's almost like you must be reading my thoughts. Oh, you've been reading my mail. You know exactly what I want. I wonder if it's just like an expression.
It could be that.
Could be wrong.
It would make sense because there's no way that Wayne doesn't like. It's not out. I mean, it's that. It's completely out in the open that he's going to Miss Trisha's class. Like he talks about it constantly.
Yeah, he's brought it up before.
So this wouldn't be something that he just happened to come across
once or 5 times.
So I feel like that's got to be it. Yeah, it's got to be some kind of like, what's a good word? Euphemism.
Sure.
That's not it, but you know.
Yeah. Yeah, and so the other thing was it was odd that Tanis was complaining about her nails not being dry yet. Right. While she calls the party the salliest and complains about the apron being sexist.
So that's not even the thing that really bothered me the most. It's like, how soon before you came to this party did you do your nails?
Right?
It's like if you knew the party was coming, wouldn't you do them like a few hours beforehand to let them dry? I don't know how nails work.
I mean, her nails are totally different than what I would ever do because I don't girl, but
nails take about what, 5 minutes to dry?
No, it's probably a good half an hour, 45 minutes minimum.
I don't know.
But really still, it's not like they called her out of the blue. It was like, hey, come over real quick.
Right.
Unless
she was like sitting in her car putting the final coat on or something.
Unless maybe she and Katie and Gail were doing naily things.
Maybe.
I don't think of Gail as being the type of person to do nails.
Yeah.
There were more than
I can see
Gail.
Katie and even Rolled and maybe
Rolled
because he likes.
Well, they always do their nails black. So.
Black, right?
That's true.
So that's all I've got. What you got? Anything else? Either of you?
I got lots.
All right.
Okay. So Bad Gas Travels Fast was another one that was a throwback,
right?
Which I love all the little like phrases that are kind of throwaway phrases, but we've heard them at least once before.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a bunch of that in this episode, and I just love that. Wayne, when he sits down in the chair.
Mm-hmm.
Like moans Merry Christmas, like
Merry
total dad Merry Christmas. And
Wayne's dad noises.
Yep.
Exactly. I love it. I make dad noises myself. Let's see. You asked that one already.
Girls ain't supposed to make dad noises.
I like how one of the things that kept drawing my eye as I watched this episode over and over again today was that everyone was playing with everybody else's hair in different scenes. Like Gail was playing with Katie's hair, but then Katie smacked her hand away. And then Tanis was playing with Stuart's hair and like commenting him on his weave. And then Gail playing with Dan's beard and at the same time playing with the back of Coach's head. And I'm like, that's me at a party. That is absolutely me at a party. Like I'm like, I'm stimming out on somebody that I love who's making me comfortable and talking at the same time. Ask my friends. I might be petting their arm or something, but yeah, I probably am doing something like that. So, and then the Santa Claus part.
Yes.
First of all, right?
Roll,
you didn't even hear it the first time.
I didn't. It didn't stick out to me as I was. Yeah,
I
and then I
talked
looked
about
away.
Carla Homolka and Greg Bernardo, who you did not know who they were.
Right.
And so if those of you out there who are not murderinos, which I know quite a few of that crossover happens a lot, Greg Bernardo and Carla Homolka were serial killers in Canada. And they were a husband and wife.
Paul Bernardo.
Yeah. That's right. But they were serial killers and they started out essentially like with her baby sister. And just got worse from there. So when they lumped him in together with John Wayne Gacy and Jeffrey Dahmer, I totally was like, oh yeah, perfect. And I'm pretty sure they know how many murderinos like that, because this is not the first time that there's been some like true crime trivia or even at one point Dan referenced My Favorite Murder.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to totally pick that out and had you do that because I mean, I knew a lot about that couple growing up because my family being Canadian, my mom thought, oh, we have our own serial killers and it just doesn't happen like that. And, you know, I grew up in the age of unsolved mysteries and America's Most Wanted and all of that. So
we spent all yesterday watching the Iceman.
We spent all yesterday watching every single one of the documentaries about him. Because sometimes when, as you say, when baby's hurting, we do what baby wants, and baby needed something like that.
That's right. Whatever baby wants. So, Eric, you got
and the didgeridoo.
Oh,
you didn't mention
I did not.
Glenn and the didgeridoo. Wrapped up like a candy cane with two bubbles at the end. When he blew into it, it looked like he was blowing something else.
A didgeridick.
Obviously, he has no idea how to play the
didgeridoo. No idea. How did that happen?
Well, he is sometimes confused about things. I mean, with the McMurrays.
How did he get in the gym?
With the McMurrays. I mean, when he found out that they were into the lifestyle, he goes, oh, no. That's a sin.
But it wasn't a sin until it was with a married couple.
Right.
Up until then, he was like, I'm having fun. It's all good.
But anyway, Eric, what do you have anything else?
Yeah, I have a few things. The only thing I could be wrong about this, but it seems to me like this is the first episode that was shot digitally. If you watch the episode before, if you watch Beak and Bosch and then you could totally notice a difference in the, I don't want to say like the definition of it. It almost seems like they went from film to digital on this episode, because every episode after this has been the same kind of definition. I could be wrong, just something I was thinking about.
Oh, I would agree that visually it stands out. Like the look of it is crisper and ruddier.
I wonder if it's because it was all inside. It's all,
or if it's just because it was a special episode. You know what I mean? Could be any number of reasons, but that was something that stuck out to me the first time I saw it.
Yeah.
The other things I have was bit fucking gnar, which is how Barry refers to the box of alcohol, which is something I've never heard before. Gnar, obviously being short for gnarly, but that's something that's all the drinks that Wayne names: a Nativity Barn Burner, a Mrs. Clausmo, Naughty or Spice. They're all actual drinks.
Yep.
Like a barn burner is usually tequila. Mrs. Clausmo is a Clausmopolitan, they call it. Naughty or Spice is like spiced rum and lemon juice. Jingle juice is actually a real thing too. Obviously, they're talking about jungle juice, where you mix everything together and just drink it and makes you spit. But jingle juice is actually like a fruity, like kind of a festive drink.
All right.
What else was there? There was a part where they're showing everybody drinking, and you can see them all like drinking it, and they're all making faces because it's obviously horrible what they're drinking. Let's see, what else do I have? I have the part when they're talking about Home Alone. Katie turns to the coach, who goes, "Right, coach?" He goes, "How old do you think I am?" I was dying at that one.
I'm pretty sure I'm older than Mark Forward, right?
Right. He's not that old.
I think he's in his 30s.
Yeah. So I'm older than Mark Forward.
Yeah.
Timbits. I don't think anybody down here knows what Timbits are, but we figured that out. They're like donut holes, so they kind of like balls.
Best.
Yeah. You were talking about when Gail was talking about Uncle Eddie, that she got the picture, and he goes, "Was that part of the whole?" Never mind. I don't know. I didn't get that reference. I don't know what he's talking.
So the reference, I think because it's kind of like having a daddy dom, but in her case, it was a granddaddy dom type of thing. So or an uncle fetish.
Niece, yeah. Like how you could put in uncle niece on Pornhub and probably come up with a million videos. Like I think that's where he was going and realized that I don't want to know. Never mind.
Yeah, that makes sense. When Glenn was doing his scene with the didgeridoo, I was not concerned. That's the word. I was wondering whether or not he shot his scene without Wayne being in the room, because I don't know how he could have got through that without the both of them just cracking up when he's like, "You want a toot? You want a toot?" and you see they shoot back and forth to Wayne, but I'm convinced when Glenn was there, Wayne wasn't in the room, because Wayne would have been dying with that. Keith Starr should have been dying.
Yeah, actually, I encourage everybody to go back and watch it. Just watch Wayne's face throughout the entire time, because you can see there's a number of times where he's biting his lips, or there's just a sliver of a smirk.
That was what I was going to bring up next, is when he was doing the whole thing with the hockey players, and they're sitting next to him. You could obviously see him chewing on that lip just to keep him cracking up laughing.
And Jonesy too. Like Jonesy was like, I'm not laughing.
I mean, Dylan Playfair has a huge grin on it. He's smiling the whole time, but Wayne's really trying to hold that scowl, and he's biting the lip, and it was
he's trying to be stoic Wayne.
Yep. I think that's all I got.
Yeah, that was good.
I did have one last thing.
Yes.
Because I am really curious where, one, he found a disposable camera, and two, knows where to take it to get developed, because we were talking about that the other day, actually. As we're going through some of Grace's stuff, we came across a whole lot of undeveloped film.
Well, I know you can take cameras to our Walgreens over here, and they'll develop.
They still have a
film,
because I know they have a digital, but
yeah.
Okay, cool. Good to know.
But I mean,
Thanks, Letterkenny.
the other thing is, you can
Made
take
me
your
ask a
digitals
question.
over there and like crop them and
Yeah, I
resize
knew
them
that
and stuff.
one.
But you can take your film in there and they'll.
Oh,
I don't know if they process them there anymore, but
I haven't gotten film done. Like
I haven't
developed
needed
in
to.
so
Oh yeah.
long.
Now this
I got a
this
drawer
episode
full
is
of them
from
my childhood.
2017. I don't know
Mhm.
how long it's been since they've had disposable cameras. So
Right.
I mean, but maybe things are slower up there because it is Canada. I know they are kind of back.
it's very rural.
Right.
I think the
So-
last time that we had disposable cameras was our wedding, actually.
Did we?
How long
Yeah.
ago?
Oh, it's
2009.
11,
2009.
10 years. Coming up on our 11th anniversary.
Yeah.
That's why.
Oh.
I'm like, it's like 13, right?
A little bit.
13 together.
13 together.
Anyway.
So are we ready to move into
Fuck. Fight.
So
Best thing you ever made for this show.
no, the best thing I made was You Do It.
Oh, shut up.
Mwah, I love you, baby. This episode, we've got most of the standards in here. We have no Tyson and Joy Boy in this episode.
No McMurrays.
No McMurrays. But
That's the
we've
thing
got,
that I actually should have brought up as far as trivia is concerned is who made the cut for this party? Like, why wasn't the McMurrays involved? Why weren't Joint Boy and Tyson invited? You know, there's so many people that didn't get to go to the party.
I bet the McMurrays are like down in Polko for Christmas.
Yeah,
Probably.
that's probably right for Christmas. Sounds about right.
down Dominican.
Down Dominican,
somewhere,
definitely.
somewhere warm.
Some
where they can
tasties
get
down
some-
there.
Talk about cunt. All right. So let's go first with Wayne.
Wayne's such a good friend in this episode.
Yeah.
He bought a present for everyone.
He is not a curmudgeon or a
He's
poopy
not a
pants.
curmudgeon. He's embracing all of the traditions that his group has made for
And
this.
he's gotten something for everybody.
Everybody. And he put a lot of thought into
Yeah,
every one of
he
those
did.
gifts.
Yep.
So I absolutely Ferda with him right there. Like I'm attracted by a generous spirit, so I might even be
Ferda that slips
maybe
into
a little toe curling later.
All right.
Slips in.
Slip it inside her. Katie. All right, Eric, where are you on, Wayne?
I mean, being a cis hetero male who's extremely secure in his sexuality, all of the males are going to be not fuck for me. But so with Wayne, like Tiara said, he's just such a good friend. He really put all the thought into these, so he's definitely a furter for that one.
All right, Dairy.
Hold on, but
okay, yeah.
Like I even love with Coach. Like he doesn't know Coach very well,
right?
But he was like, you know what? I'm gonna get this fire logged because fire safety is very important. Like,
Even Coach was flabbergasted. He's like, "You got me a present?"
Right. So I just wanted to put that in there. That is so adorable to me.
Right.
All right, then Dairy.
Ferda.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of like there wasn't a whole lot of Dairy in this one other than a few that movie's dark. Yeah, I agree with you.
Right. When, he's the one who starts talking about the NAR, how NAR is it that we only bring this box out once a year.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, and when he's like, "Pull your finger out of your ass, fucking elf," that was definitely a Ferda moment.
Right. That's totally something that Grace would have said too. Like all the things that you could be to make you happy, and you're gonna want to be a dentist. Okay.
Squirrely Dan's.
No offense to any dentists out there.
Ferda.
Yeah, definitely a Ferda. He's just kind of being.
He's got
squirrely.
a new haircut too.
He does. Yep. It's all like tucked in the hat and pretty.
Trimmed up his beard.
And Gail was playing with it. It was just like,
yeah, she's like twirling in it and everything was nice.
Totally. Miss Katie's.
Ferda, but I know what everyone else is going to say.
I mean, go ahead.
I'd be Ferda personally with her.
I think this whole episode is a lot of Ferda. I mean, I'm always
Yes.
stuck for Katie because she's beautiful, but it's a Christmas episode. It's family. It's get together. I think it's definitely a Ferda. She's trying her best.
All right.
Agreed.
Riley and Jonesy, because they are one.
They're so drunk.
Yeah,
they are.
Yeah.
Like, I'm kind of grossed out.
They have no control over pacing themselves.
Right. That they like essentially show up to the party already drunk because they've been drinking all day with these girls, and then they continue to get drunk and they clog up the bathroom all night. Like, you're just asking for a fight in a crowd like that.
Oh, and I hate to be contentious, but I'm going to call you out on them being the only ones vomiting. There's one point, I don't know who's knocking, but it's definitely a female vomiting in there. You can hear it. So it wasn't just them spitting in the bathroom.
All right.
But,
I will take your word for it. I do not listen to puke that closely.
I don't blame you. But I agree with you. They were entirely too drunk. It's almost a fight for me. You just want to smack them in the face. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Because I don't want to hit them, though, because they might puke on me.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, maybe if they're turned
Smack
around,
and stand back.
I'd turn them around and kick their asses out of the door.
Yeah.
and lock them out in the freezing.
Yeah.
So we're both fight on them.
I think we're fight on them. Yeah.
Okay. Stuart.
Is Stuart high in this one?
I think he's drunk. I don't think he's high.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. It doesn't seem very high.
Yeah.
He's not very animated like he usually is.
No. I think he's just drunk.
The kiss was so cute.
It was.
Really, really cute.
The Merry Christmas afterwards.
Right?
Yeah, he did.
I'm going to say Ferda.
Yeah. He definitely didn't pull away for the kiss. So.
No. He puckered up.
Yep. So are you Ferda as well on Stuart?
I think we're a Ferda with Stuart. He was Stuart. He wasn't anything more or less than he ever is.
Yeah.
True. Yeah, he wasn't completely overbearing Stuart like he can often be.
Right.
So yeah, Ferda for him sounds good. Roldy.
I mean, that's another one that's just so drunk, but
Yeah.
at least not like gross about it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I mean, I'll say.
I mean, he shouldn't have kissed Stuart without consent, but Stuart didn't completely seem adverse to it.
He led up to it.
He did lead up to it.
I think he was actually looking for consent, and then he just kind of fell into it. So there was really no choice in the matter.
I mean, because I love Stuart, and if I swung that way, I would. Rolled. Yeah, I love Rolled, and if I swung that way, Rolled would always be a fuck for me.
Oh yeah, he's adorable.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Ferda only because he's so drunk he cannot consent in this episode.
Right.
He cannot.
I agree.
So
yeah, somewhere between a fight and a Ferda for the same thing because he's too drunk. You kind of want to smack him, but he's Rolled, so he's adorable.
I could never hit Rolled
unless he asked you nicely.
Well, I could not without consent. So
something tells me that he would consent.
Maybe that little daddy when he does mommy.
Yeah.
Glenn.
Oh, I mean, I don't have the equipment that Glenn wants, and I say this every time, so I'm gonna say Ferda. I'm gonna say Ferda, but
you know he's been with Gail.
I know he's been with Gail, and Gail scares me. Which, I mean, not in a she just knows so much more than I do.
I don't know if she knows much more, but she's definitely she's willing to experiment.
She's willing to try anything. I have some hard limits.
Yeah.
And her hard limits are like way down, like way up on the list of my hard limits. So
Glenn's almost a fuck for me on this one because he's so cute with that didgeridoo. He's like, you want a toot?
He is so cute.
A toot toot.
Yeah, but it's still a Ferda because he's it's Christmas time.
Sure.
Same.
All right.
Yeah.
Tannis.
I kind of want to punch her.
Yeah, I understand that. But
I mean, I don't ever want to punch her, but
she'd be in a cow.
She'd definitely be in a cow. And she does apologize twice,
but not for the thing that made me like want to punch her.
Right.
Like she apologized for being a bitch, which she totally was. It was very like she was looking for a fight, not that it actually was something to her,
Yeah.
And then because she went from what are you trying to say to you want to do something about it? Like I don't know. I kind of want to fight her.
I understand.
She makes me unhappy in this episode.
Yeah, I mean
she's cute in a lot of stuff, and she's gorgeous as for realsies, but
But yeah, I mean, granted, being in the style of Wayne, I could never hit a woman,
right.
But I
could Rock, you could shake the shit out of her.
I never hit it, but I shake the shit out.
Shake the shit out. No,
I would have had for like 20 years.
I would enlist Katie for a box cake.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. Yeah, a good box hoofing.
Yeah.
We didn't even talk about when Katie gets her present and Bonnie and Tannis are behind the Christmas tree.
Oh yeah.
And they just pop out, put it on. Yeah,
what
put
are
it
they
on.
doing
It's like,
behind
how
the
long were they
Christmas
back
tree?
there?
Everybody's popping in with their one head on top of the other. That's like the silly, Hallmark Christmas.
Oh yeah, Three Stooges type. Yeah.
Bonnie
A very
McMurray.
Christmas. All right, you ready for me to shock you?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
She's old enough for me in this.
Yeah,
by now.
she's,
she looks like a woman. She doesn't look like a little kid anymore.
I'm kind of with you on that. I mean,
I have never really found her attractive.
She
always looked like she was 12.
Well, and she acts more womanly in this.
Yeah.
I mean,
she's not like young and desperate. She's more like, you know what? I'm finally comfortable and I'm comfortable with who I am. And I love to wear this and I love to be pretty and have fun.
Yeah.
And, she's a very like, she's a take care too.
Yeah.
Like, yes, she still has a crush on Wayne, but it's obviously not as strong as it used to be because now she's just like openly flirty, but not.
Yeah.
Like she's like, oh,
if it happens, it happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then there's that whole situation with Tannis, which she's like, Merry Christmas, next, and she's just dead staring Tannis right in the eyes the whole time.
Yeah, well,
that might be because
how Tannis is being.
How Tannis is being in that
True,
moment,
that's true.
and it might be that Tannis got to date him.
Yeah.
So it could be anything.
You had your chance.
Yeah.
Next.
Even he's telling you, look at his face.
So,
next.
Erica, are you fuck with Bonnie or Frodo?
I mean, I really like the way her outfits. I will give her that. She looks great in this episode, and she's the little helper elf. So yeah, I'm all for that with Bonnie.
All right, and then finally, Gail.
I stand by I'm a little bit afraid of Gail.
But Gail would respect your limits.
Hell yeah, she would.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she knows she will recite them.
She does not respect Wayne's though. She knows it.
What's in your jeans, bud?
Like,
I wonder if she does it just to see if he'll.
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a lot like Wayne when it comes to that. You know this.
Yeah.
So I like if I was to meet Gail and she did not come on strongly, then I would probably be down to explore some fun stuff.
Yeah.
But if she came on strong, I would be so turned off. It's not even funny. Like that's a big part of it for me. You come on strong, I'm probably walking away.
Yeah.
My wife came in the room while Gail was doing her thing with Uncle Eddie in this episode, and she was like, "Why is she always like that?" I'm like, "Gail is she's just constantly horny.
Yep.
You can't fault her for it."
Yeah.
She's just walking sex.
She is. She is oversexed. So.
Yeah.
Which there is nothing wrong with that. It just makes me uncomfortable, just like Wayne.
Yeah. It's really not much different than if McMurray was not married, he would be Gail.
Yeah.
On his own.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I believe that.
Yeah.
Miss McMurray brings down some of the about him.
Yeah. so where are we with Gail?
I'm Ferda.
Ferda with Gail.
I think I'm always a fuck for Gail. I'd love to see what's going on there.
I can't. I'm with you on that. I'll take a chance.
Yeah.
You change your mind. I'm the first in line.
Take a chance on me.
And there's our ABBA for this episode. This is our trivia. This is our first ABBA on the episode.
That was
one of those times where I'm like, if I knew I was going to sing on the podcast, I would have warmed up a little bit. Anyway.
So yeah, most everybody's Ferda. The only one who is, there's fights for Riley and Jonesy and with Tannis.
Mm-hmm.
And Bonnie's the only one who's getting all the fucks.
Yep.
And Gail is getting a little loving.
Yeah.
Which I think she'd be more than happy with. So.
Oh, absolutely. She'll take it any way she can get it.
What's that?
She'll take it any way she can get it.
Definitely. as often as she can.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think my fear was that I would not be able to satisfy enough then I would end up dead.
Yeah. If I were to ever get into a situation,
You would need more people.
Thank you. That's exactly where I was going with that. What's that?
If your lady boner lasts more than 4 hours,
Call
bring more people.
Call more ladies. Yes, that's what was that? Dewey Cox. What
Yeah, it was Dewey Cox. Walk hard.
Yes.
Walk hard.
If your erection lasts more than 4 hours,
Call more ladies. Fuck. All right. So that's everything. Any final thoughts from anybody? Oh yeah, no, I covered that already.
I do believe, other than the two big questions that we should put out there into the world, is Reverend Bolio named after somebody, or what does it mean?
Yeah.
And then who's in that picture of Uncle Eddie?
Right.
I'd like to know those
we,
things.
We may end up having to ask them that when we get to the Q&A at the Letterkenny Live in April.
I'm hoping that somebody will be brave enough to ask for a private interview, since we know friends who have been able to do that just by asking.
Yeah.
I know, but you're the one who's gonna. If anyone's gonna, it's got to be you.
Well, no, I have put out my asks in the Twitterverse, and I even emailed the producers. Haven't heard back anything, so I know that they've been in the middle of shooting. So
yes, that reminds me. We just found out this week that there's going to be on Crave Christmas episodes.
Yeah, Christmas Day.
So we're going to have to try and figure out how to get to Canada for a couple of days.
Right.
Because there's been no announcement of when it's going to come to the U.S. Hulu has not.
It's a
made
fair
an
assumption that if it's coming on Crave, then probably 2 weeks later it'll be on.
Well, how long
it was a year for this current Christmas episode to make it onto Hulu.
Well, hang on, no,
because it was shot in 2017, but then it didn't.
Wait a minute, because we got we got season 7 because it was the 10th in Canada, and it was like the 11th.
Yes, but they announced that was going to happen. They announced. They said Canada's going to get it on this day, then the U.S., then Australia.
Yeah.
With this, they have only said Canada.
Yeah.
They have not said anything else. And like with Letterkenny, it took a couple of weeks. With they have not announced it, therefore we cannot assume yet.
Yeah.
So it might be something where literally, like the episode we're talking about today, when it came out in Canada, was almost a year before it came out in the U.S. It was not amongst the original.
Right.
Right. It was a special episode.
True, but I will also say that at that time, Letterkenny was not a quote unquote Hulu original.
Right, exactly.
So Hulu would be talking all kinds of shit up if they were having something premiering in the next month.
My guess is they're under negotiations.
Yes,
so,
that's why I was trying to say we can't make assumptions yet on that.
But I would figure it's probably within a week.
Yeah, I would agree with you. Definitely.
Just at this point in time, because of the Hulu relationship. That's my guess.
I feel like if it was going to be within a week, we would have known by now. That's the last thing I'm going to say on that.
Well, U.S. lawyers are dicks, so. So, but yeah, so and then this episode will be coming out on the what's Thursday?
Great
Thursday is the 5th. Yes, today's the 1st.
So yeah, we're in December, all fucking ready. What the
hell?
All
right, happy December.
Wow. Yeah. So after this episode, we'll be back in another week. So we're off a week.
Okay.
And then we have our recap episode.
Right.
So. And we don't have a special a chat with anybody this time
lined up.
Yeah, so it would have to
We'll see what happens. We're not going to say anything.
it would have to happen immediately.
Mr. Pessimist over here.
Always. Hello.
I know I was
I'm Dean. Have you met me?
I know I was the poo-pooer on Hulu getting the show immediately, but let's be fair. We don't know.
To be fair,
when we
fingers crossed.
When we talked to the first one.
Tyler,
we talked to Stuart.
When we talked to
Stuart, it wasn't like a huge lead up. Like
no,
we asked and it happened.
Yeah.
So you never know. You cannot say anything because we have definitely found out that anything can happen.
Yeah. Tyler was a lot easier to happen because it was just between me and him.
Right.
After with Patrick,
I had
producers
at the time too. So.
I'd have producers be involved. So
yeah. And it's also like it happens so fast. Like they'll come to you, okay, yeah, he's available, but he's only available tomorrow, so you have to do it tomorrow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it happens so fast sometimes you have to just jump on it.
Yeah. And being that that we run the whole thing here, it's not too hard to do. Sometimes it may be hard to have us both in the room.
Yes. Like when I was in Vegas or when we were in Portland, but we still do it.
We were both in the room in Portland.
That's true. We were just,
But yeah, so we're going to be off for our recap show and then we'll do our season 5 recap.
In 2 weeks then?
In 2 weeks.
Okay.
2 weeks.
And then we'll be like off for Christmas or something, right?
I can't. I'd have to look at
Is there one more?
I think we have a week off. Recap week off,
and then
we're recording again.
Like you guys said, though, you guys got to slow down because you're catching up,
right?
Well, so yeah,
but we have plans for what we're going to do when we catch up.
The reason is I'm trying to get the Valentine's episode out on February 13th.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
So
yeah,
there's reasoning behind it.
Right.
So I've been trying to hold this schedule as close as I can. So after Valentine's, we could probably, if
take a hiatus,
take a little bit of a hiatus because I do have some folks already lined up for season 7, and then at some point I'm going to have to line up folks for season 8. So. So
and the other stuff that we've talked about doing in the interim when stuff is off is looking at other works of these artists, these actors and stuff. So there will be a lot of other stuff.
So we can get into maybe even some 19.2.
Yeah,
maybe
that would be really cool.
Yeah.
And I was actually talking to Austin the other day. I didn't realize that both Gay and McMurray were on Total Drama. I don't know if you guys know Total Drama, the cartoon show, Canadian cartoon show.
Oh,
they did
my
voices
daughter
on
used
that.
to watch.
Yeah, Natalie used to watch that all the time.
Total Drama Island.
Yes, I
Yep,
remember that.
exactly. Yep.
That's funny.
Well, see, I knew Gay. We knew Gay from 11/22/63, and I haven't seen McMurray in anything else.
Yeah, not recently.
So yeah, but I knew Tyler Johnston from Supernatural.
That was the big one.
Yeah, he was the first one that stuck out at me. I'm like, oh my god, it's Alfie. Because I was a huge Supernatural fan. I've got to get caught up from halfway of last season and then now.
Oh no,
we've
got like 2 full seasons that we haven't.
Well, we
watched.
started. I think we started last season, but anyway. So yeah, Supernatural. That's it's going away.
Yep.
It was a good run.
Oh yeah.
15 years. So.
And then now
hardly anybody gets even.
Jared Padalecki's gonna be the next Walker Texas Ranger.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yes!
Yeah.
I'm kind of half like I'm gonna watch it.
Well, I mean, I prefer him than Chuck Norris as a complete right wing asshole.
Right.
So.
Absolutely.
And Padalecki is from Texas.
True story.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
So
I'm just curious, Walker Texas Ranger was never exactly a soft character, and Padalecki always has this softness about every character he's ever played.
True.
So I'm curious how that will work out.
A compassionate sheriff or whatever the hell he was.
I could be into it.
Walker.
Yeah. So yeah, that should be fun. I'm looking forward to lots of new things. So and we got that Evil show that we're going to start watching soon with Luke Cage.
I hear that's really scary and really good. I haven't seen it, but I hear it's
I'm looking forward to it. The first episode starts on the 5th of that.
If there's anything that's actually really scary that I watch, I'm impressed. So most of the time I'm like, that was clever. Oh, that was fun. That one part was good.
The text was clever.
Yeah, that happens a lot.
All right, Eric.
All right.
We appreciate having you with us.
The appreciations is all mine. So thank you so much for having me. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Anything you want to plug before we leave?
Aside from, I definitely plug this Letterkenny subreddit, but anything else?
Yeah. Reddit.com/r/Letterkenny. But I don't have anything personally. Like I said, I'm a big fan of sketch. So Super Ego is one of my favorite podcasts. Comedy Bang Bang, check them out. Other than that, I really have nothing.
Yeah, I love Reggie Watts. So
yes, yeah,
he's that's one I'd pay money to go see. So because if you're fucking, you're probably fucking. So
if you're not fucking, the absence of fucking is what's happening.
And we should go do something about that.
Oh boy.
Hey now. All right, Eric, thank you so much. And
thanks, guys.
We hope to have you on again. It's been a pleasure.
Anytime. I'm like I said, more than happy to do it. A lot of fun.
Anytime. Okay, we'll see you next week then.
All right.
No, wait, we've got next week off.
Oh, we got next week off.
All right,
so
2 weeks. I'll be there.
2 weeks. 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Lots of references to old movies. Yes. You son of a bitch.
Okay, let's go watch more of that.
We got a new Rick and Morty tonight too.
Yes.
Yes, tonight, 10 p.m.
Yes. All right.
Network.
Everybody,
all right, guys.
Have a lovely day. And
Wait, before we go,
before
we go, did you maybe hear any talk about this maybe being the best episode ever?
This is probably the best podcast in Letterkenny.
Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard people talk about that.
Yeah. Peoples are a talking and talkings are a people. So.
Bad cats travels fast in that town.
And I just ate.
All right, guys.
All right.
Take care now.
Good night.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
You
Bye.
bet. Bye. Thanks for listening to this episode of How Are You Now? We really appreciate that about you. If you'd like to, it would be great if you'd also subscribe and maybe give us a nice review or two. You can do so on iTunes/Apple Podcasts, or you can also go out to podchaser.com and give us a nice review there. And also, we want to give a huge gratitude of thanks and everything for our musical guest and my good friend, James Honeycutt. You can find James at jameshoneycutt.bandcamp.com or on facebook.com/James Honeycutt Music. And that's Honeycutt with HUNNICUTT. Honeycutt. Take care, you degens.
Life on top of the other, all over you and me too. Here's to debts unpayable, to an end inescapable. Oh, but to wear that crown even for a day, for 15 seconds, 15 seconds.